I'm Harvey Hubbell, and this is Harvey Hubbell Show and Tell. And who the heck are you, Robin?
I'm Robin Zikmund. I am one of the angry moms, one of the mama bears of the world out there, trying to bring awareness for kiddos like my son. Just like my coffee mug says, Harvey,
Uh,
mama bear.
Mama Bear, and you're from the great state of.
I'm in Idaho. I am the founder of the Idaho State chapter of Decoding Dyslexia. So just trying to follow the lead of those amazing ladies that started this movement many years ago, 2011. They started the Decoding Dyslexia movement in New Jersey. I think Idaho is probably one of the last states to join the mission. And I did so because I had a little boy, Harvey. I had a little boy that was well adjusted and happy and outgoing and smart, so smart. And I sent him into a system that didn't understand him, didn't know what to do, that his peers around him were grasping with ease. And, he puts on his little backpack in kindergarten and eagerly goes off to school, happy and excited about the adventures ahead for him. And by third grade, 9 years old, my boy's coming home, depressed, withdrawn, full of anxiety, stomach issues. And one day says, Mom, what's wrong with me? I just want to kill myself. And I thought, what is going on in this classroom? What's happening at school? I got to figure this out. So did a lot of research, did a deep dive. I got a plaque on my desk here that says a worried mom does better research than the FBI. And it's true. I just dove in to learn everything I could about literacy. I knew he was struggling with learning to read. Why? Why is he struggling? Ran across a dyslexia screener, a very basic dyslexia screener. I could check every box. I thought, that's it. My kiddo's struggling with dyslexia. I quickly went into the classroom, partnering with my teachers, and they just said, yeah, we don't call it dyslexia in Idaho. I thought, well, I think you probably do. I think you do. 1 in 5 kiddos are struggling with it. It's covered under federal law, under IDEA, and the IDEA. I just lost the term. What is it, Harvey?
Ida. I'm dyslexic. That's the thing. See, that's what I mean. There's a conspiracy just putting all these letters up on all these names. I don't even get it. But it's Ida. It's going to be
IDEA, the Individual Education Disability Act. That's
bingo.
where dyslexia falls under. Right. There you go. So
Federal law, and you're in the state.
Federal law.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought, well, you call it that because it's covered under federal law. So what's going on here? I got to do something. And I ran across the Decoding Dyslexia movement. And I thought, oh, those are the ladies. I got to find the Idaho chapter. These are the ladies that are going to help me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing in our public schools to help my son, to learn that there was no Idaho chapter. So I was asked to start one, and I did so in
Who asked
October.
Who asked you to start one?
Well, it was Deborah.
Deborah
Deborah
Lyman. Deborah Lyman,
Yeah.
one of the founders out in New Jersey. Yeah, she knows how to start trouble and fix it.
Yeah. She's dynamo. And Liz Barnes, and I'm dropping one of the other gals that was so
Well, I'm going to
important
see.
in
We're
my.
going to see Liz tomorrow. Liz is doing the screenings in of Hopeville. She's doing the screenings tomorrow night. We're going to New Jersey tomorrow, and so
Oh,
yeah,
that's
those are the founding mamas.
Those are the ladies that I'm so grateful for, that just rolled up their sleeves and said, we got to do something. And so it's not me. I just followed their lead, and I thought, okay, I'm going to start an Idaho chapter. So I did.
Yeah, but it's not easy. I mean, starting what you
Department of
did.
Education.
Well, you had to go.
Yeah.
You had to go find everybody. Yeah, so you had to find everybody. You had to organize in the state. So tell us about
Yeah.
that. Once you're all of a sudden now, how do you find others in the tribe? How do you
Yeah,
keep
that's
people
what I
from?
that's what I was asking myself, sitting here at home, sending my kiddo into the dark days of his journey at school. And I thought, how am I going to do this? But I figured I cannot be the only mom out there in the state of Idaho that is a kiddo with a similar struggle. I can't be the only mom. I just got to find my people. And I, launched a Facebook page, Decoding Dyslexia Idaho Facebook page. And I was mentored by those amazing ladies that started this movement. And I joined every committee at the State Department of Education to kind of learn. I had so much to learn about public education and how is it funded and who are the decision makers. And I had no idea how political public education is. So I really took a crash course in politics. Um, I was sad. I was sad by that. I was sad to know that our kids' day at school is directly impacted by those that we elect into the decision-making positions politically. Those are the people that are most removed from the direct impact their decisions are having.
But even though some of those people have kids in the school system.
Well, they do, and I feel like I've got to know some of them. I mean, one of the senator that carried our bill and passed it is near and dear to my heart. I think the world of him. And there's still misunderstanding, I feel, even then. And he's a parent himself, and he says that to me. I'll say, what about the parents? Do you have parent representation? Well, I'm a parent, he'll say. We're all parents, Robin. But you're not a parent of a child that got into a system that changed them, that changed his mental health, that changed how he viewed himself. So no, you're not the same parent. Not the
So
same parent.
so I mean, what you're talking about is an advocate and an advocate's journey. But another reason besides that you're my good friend and I love you dearly. The reason we're talking is because you and I are going to be hanging out at Big Sky out in Montana, right?
Yeah.
A little north of
Yeah.
Idaho. Idaho's here and Montana's here, right?
Yeah. We're neighbors. We're
Yeah.
neighbors.
So,
One of my most favorite humans on the planet. So very excited. This was my second year. Last year, I got invited to do a session at Big Sky, sharing the Mama Bear story. And I partnered with an Idaho first grade teacher who has her master's in literacy, been teaching, reading in first grade for 20 plus years, until one day she had that kiddo in her classroom and she didn't know what to do. And all the tools she had in her toolbox weren't doing anything for him. Or actually, it was for a little girl and wasn't doing anything for her. And she was just like so devastated as an educator. And then she came to find a training, the Institute for Multisensory Education, MZ, training, a structured literacy Orton Gillingham based training that she wrote a grant for to have her PTO pay for her to take. She took the course and she immediately started implementing it in her first grade classroom. And she thought, aha, all these things just went off about what she didn't know about how to teach reading. And so anyway, she and I partnered and did a session last year at Big Sky. It was really fun.
so tell me,
So I'm
you
looking
you
forward.
you froze before when you were talking about Dr. Nell. Dr. Nell, who's Dr. Nell? One of your favorite?
Dr. Nell is one of my most favorite humans ever. She's just a genuine person that is in this work incredibly. She's amazing.
We have this crazy connection. We keep freezing out. Anyway, I love Dr. Nell. I love you. I love Big Sky. So tell me about it. So we're gonna go there. We're actually gonna play our film at Big Sky. You're a parent advocate. You're on our panel, which is
Yeah, I'm excited.
which is
I'm
awesome.
excited. Yeah, Big Sky. I cannot wait to see your film again. I got to see it at the Reading League last year. Amazing. So I cannot wait to see it again. I've seen them all, right? Like there's some really great work being done. But I feel like your film is the film that every educator needs to see because I think what I've learned a lot along the journey, like we all have. And I have a love of learning, like all of us, right? Life learners. But I think what I've learned is that real change doesn't happen until we've impacted a teacher, a superintendent, a building principal, a decision maker down at the state capitals. Until you've impacted those people, real change doesn't happen. And your film, for me, is the film that all teachers need to see, all those in education need to see, because it's the journey of an educator. It takes you right into the classroom. It's a great film, Harvey. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm honored to be on the panel. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to Big Sky.
Well, you said it yourself. I mean, as an advocate who's on a journey, on a lifelong journey. I mean, first you started off. Well, before you were a mom, you were a student at one time, I guess. You were in school, so you know what it was like, you know.
Yeah.
And well, you know, we're all on our separate journeys, and nobody this isn't in the human handbook. And
No.
when you become a parent and you start seeing what's going on, and then you kind of do what you did. You know, you get knocked down 7 times, you get up 8, and you keep going. But you find the tribe. You find of how we make a difference, and the tools that we have. I mean, you know, we appreciate it, and I certainly appreciate what you said about our film. We worked hard on making our film, but our film does bring people together and get everybody on the same page. And it's important to get the decision makers involved. And I think when you're talking to parents, you know what you're talking about. You know what it was like when your son comes home when he's 9 years old, and so
Yeah.
and there's following the passion and getting your kid, and just realizing as you meet all these other parents that it's happening all over the place. A lot of times people
Right.
think it's isolated, but it's not isolated.
Right. I thought, I knew there were others out there, but I didn't know how many. And then, once I started the movement and got involved at state level, just more and more parents were calling and emailing and can you help me? And what do I need to do in my school? And so I couldn't help many meetings virtually to help parents. No parent should go to those meetings alone. It's a terrifying experience. So yeah, whatever you can do to help another mom out there know what I didn't know. I can recall just being so desperate for someone to help me. And no one should feel that way. In fact, it should be something that's done and offered through our education system,
Well, that's the problem then, because the education system has to, they might have been doing it not the best possible way with all the best possible science. That's why there's this thing called the science of reading, and
Yeah.
and we're a very I appreciate what you said about the film. I mean, we're a pro educator film, and we follow these teachers around. But if the teachers were given, and we show how hard the teacher's life is for that year. But if you're not given the right information, and of course the teachers we followed around were taught in the science of reading, and that's why they were able to, against the odds, because each of these kids are complete individuals, and how they learn, you need the most important person in your kid's life, outside of the parents, and is that person who teaches them how to read and gets them in that first year before there's any kind of negative
Fully agree.
consequences.
Yeah, fully agree. I mean, when you start early on as a parent, when your child's struggling, you can't help but think, what's this teacher doing? You don't know how big the system is and how many players are involved. And I've yet to meet a teacher who doesn't want to help a child. So it's real. Then you step back and you think, okay, this isn't about the teacher. So what's going on? And then you pull all the layers back, trying to get to the root cause of what's going on. And for me, the root cause is our university teacher prep programs. They're not preparing our teachers to effectively teach reading. So the bleeding has to stop there, right? We got to beef up our university teacher prep program so teachers leave with all the tools they need. They understand the science of reading and structured literacy, and they understand learning disabilities. I mean, I have a special education teacher out here who didn't know what dyslexia was. How do you get a special education endorsement to be a special education teacher and not have any course in college about this number one learning disability?
Robin, I got a question to ask you, and this is probably
mind-blowing.
Are you going to run for office later in your life? Oh, come on. You'd be perfect. You'd be perfect. Okay, you heard it here first, people. Come on.
That's crazy town. I have been asked that actually a few times, which is so funny because
And just now. And you don't know nothing? Well, you don't have
I
to
don't know
know
anything
nothing.
about politics. I've never known it, never been interested in politics until I realized that when you pull all the layers back, that it's actually very political. That the education system is very political, and that's the key thing that, one of the key things that needs to change. So we got to change our university teacher prep programs, right? That's got to happen. So teachers know what they need to know before they walk into the classroom, because as it stands now, oftentimes they don't. And then it falls on the taxpayer, right? Because now the school district, has to budget professional development to fund what they should have been taught in college in the first place,
Well,
right?
it even gets better than that. If you look at the big gestalt and you say the you think about prisons. I mean, you just think about
Yeah.
prisons of how many people can't read in prisons and their self esteem and where they are. But it's
Thank you.
well, it's
Yeah.
not my problem. I mean, the first grade teacher, the second grade teacher, if they're not taught properly, and we say this all the time here, it's easy to put the blame on that family, that neighborhood, those
Yeah.
isms, those people,
Yeah.
these people. It's easy to put the blame on them, but when it really comes down to it, just looking at the science of reading, just looking at the body of work, and just saying, hey, can we do it better? We all want to do the best job we possibly can, right? I mean, that's what we want to
Yeah.
do, especially when it
Right.
comes to affecting somebody else's life forever. And that's what the person who teaches you how to read uh, does.
I appreciate that you brought up the prisons, Harvey, because I think that was part of my spiel when I had to testify before the Senate and the House in passing our bill, because I think all of society should care about this, because ultimately, it's everyone was so hung up when we were passing legislation. Everyone was so hung up as what is this going to cost? What is this going to cost? How am I? And I just thought, what? It didn't make any sense to me. So you're willing to spend the dollars in the end after we've failed this little human and we've destroyed their self-esteem, and now they have mental health issues. I mean, lots of stuff happens to these kiddos that people don't recognize if you're illiterate or you struggle with literacy. So that's just the journey. That's the path, period. So, but nobody's stepping back to recognize that you're spending the money anyway. You're spending it after we've failed the child and they're now in our juvie systems or on a pathway to prison, or, you're spending the dollars then. We're spending the dollars. So why wouldn't we spend them up front and give this little human the chance to be the best version of themselves? It still makes no sense to me. But you can't seem to get that message across because nothing really shifts. We just wait. We wait and fail them, and that's just the way it is.
I'm voting for you. I'm voting for you. I'm telling you. No, it's like you put it all together. I mean, we're all one big happy society. There's unity and community. If you got to support the schools, but you said you have to get these teachers getting it in the university, getting it correctly. And the university has been printing out these textbooks that come out. They support these textbooks, and it's kind of like, here's my new thing, and I've said this before in a couple other podcasts. It's like I was thinking, I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. Like the church got mad when we were talking about if they would put you to death. They would imprison you if you said the earth revolves around the sun. You could get in trouble for that back in the day. Today it's a flat world or a round world. Now it's a whole different crazy. It's a war on science. So you don't expect people to figure stuff out. But back in the day, the church got bad, and I was figuring, why is the church mad? Well, because it's not their business. It's not their business. Maybe it is their business. If I don't care. Let's pretend God created everything. It's fine. I don't care which one goes on this way or that way. But the thing was, once you begin to say something, you can't come back and say, all these textbooks, all this stuff we've been teaching. I mean, even if somebody does feel like wanting to do it, there's probably attorneys around these colleges are saying, don't say you've been doing it wrong for all these years. And statistically, all we have to do is give a kid this that's ready for their second grade level, their first grade level, their third grade level, at a third grade level, and say, "Can you read it?" And that's how you know if they know how to read, if they can do it. Call me crazy, but so so we're rebels. You're a rebel. You hang out with rebels, but you're not just changing your son's life. You're changing other children's lives, and therefore you're probably saving us some money down the end in the prison systems and making families happy that you don't even know about. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is there's this burning. I know many people have said it, the burning fire that just gets inside of you. You're like, this is wrong. When something's wrong, why I can't not shout it from the rooftop. So yeah. And people say, I've had people say things about me, my rage, I guess, if you will, my fire, my passion. And I always say, no one can fire me. You can't fire me from being the angry mom. You can't. So I'm happy to be the one. I mean, I get phone calls from superintendents, from special education supervisors, from teachers, from, parents, and because they know that I'm willing to say it. I'm going to say the hard things, Harvey, because you can't fire me. You can't fire me from being a mom on a mission with a story. And now I'm an advocate with hundreds of children's stories and families I've supported. So I'm not going to stop, and I'm not going to be quiet about it. And I'm not going to apologize either. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I know there's a lot of us out there doing a lot of this hard work. And I'm so thankful for that. I get emotional when I start thinking about it, because it's important work. It's, I'm not anything in the big scheme of it all. It's the Dr. Nells of the world. And, the Dr. Louisa Moats, who I'm so incredibly fortunate to have here in the state of Idaho and I met her really early in my game. I got introduced to her. This is how little I knew, Harvey, right? Like, I was frantic trying to, I need to know people. I got to know people in my state. So I'm Googling, trying to find, and I run across a piece of legislation that was passed in 1999 in the state of Idaho called the IRI, the Idaho Reading Indicator. It was passed by Dr. Deb Glazer. Never heard the name, no idea who she is. So I Google her. I find her number. I call her. I said, "Hi, I'm a mom." And she wasn't very kind. She wasn't very kind in the beginning. In fact, her words to me were, "Well, it's going to take someone with thick skin if they want to get anything done in this state." And I tell you what, Harvey, that phone call, I hung up and my skin just got a lot thicker, because I thought, why? And so she and I stayed in touch, and she realized that maybe I had enough thick skin. And she introduced me to Dr. Moats. She said, "You got to meet somebody." She made an introduction in an email. And Louisa emailed me back and said, "I'm coming to Boise. Let's go to lunch." And this is years ago now. And I know nothing about anything. And I went to lunch with Louisa Moats, and this is so embarrassing to say, but I had no idea who she was. No idea. I just knew I was meeting somebody that Dr. Deb Glazer said I should have lunch with. So I went down and had lunch with Louisa, and she was lovely and she was kind. And, the bulk majority of our conversation was about my son. She wanted to know about my son, and she was really interested. And then she talked a bit about schools, and I think I left there thinking what my takeaway was her empowering me to not stop. It will require a parent's voice, Robin. This work won't change in the state of Idaho unless a parent continues to be the squeaky wheel. You don't stop. And so from that point on, I actually went home, Harvey, and I Googled her. And then I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I should have Googled her before lunch, so I knew who I was meeting. Like, I had no idea, and it was terrible. I've now since then met teachers who idolize her, rightfully so. And I'm kind of embarrassed to tell the story. I mean, they would give anything to have lunch with Louisa. And here I go to lunch, and I have no idea who she is. None. But anyway, she became my mentor, really. Her and Deb Glazer. just when the tough days would happen, like you said, 7 days of getting knocked down, and the eighth day I stood back up. There were times I would reach out to Louisa, and she said everything I needed to hear for me to keep going. She refueled my tank. Took all of us. It took all of us, Harvey. It took the angry mom, and it took the experts. You know,
It takes
I don't.
it takes a village. There's unity and community.